What would you do if you received an SOS call from one of the largest global shipping companies? This is exactly what happened to the US military recently. Imagine for a moment the vast expanse of the Red Sea, usually bustling with commercial vessels. Suddenly, operations come to a standstill. Maersk, a global shipping titan, suspends its operations. The cause? An unanticipated attack by Houthi rebels. Now these aren't just any rebels, they're backed by Iran. Their target? The Maersk Hangzhou, a colossal vessel that was just going about its business. The rebels swoop in, not once but twice in less than a day, turning the usually calm Red Sea into a battlefield. But the US military was ready to respond. Upon receiving the distress call from the Maersk Hangzhou, they didn't hesitate. Helicopters from the US Navy took to the skies, their mission clear and urgent. What followed was a swift and decisive response from the skies above. 3 Houthi boats, the very ones that had dared to attack the Maersk Hangzhou, found themselves on the receiving end of the US military's might. The result was as swift as the response. The boats were sunk, and with them, several Houthi crew members met their end. But let's not forget the bigger picture here. This wasn't an isolated incident. No, it was a repeat attack on the same vessel in less than 24 hours. A stark reminder of the continued threat commercial vessels face in this region. This was not a single event. It was the second attack on the same vessel in less than 24 hours. The silence from the Houthi group was deafening as they failed to comment on the incidents. The tension in the region, already palpable, seemed to thicken, like fog rolling in. The aftermath of the attack on the Maersk Hangzhou by Iranian-backed Houthi rebels underlines a growing and concerning reality. Commercial vessels in the Red Sea are under an ever-increasing threat. In the wake of the attack, the United States military responded swiftly, sinking 3 Houthi boats and eliminating several crew members. Yet this response, as decisive as it was, did not deter further Houthi aggression. Indeed, the Maersk Hangzhou was attacked for the second time in less than 24 hours. As the dust settles, one begins to realize the magnitude of the problem. The Houthi rebels are not merely a nuisance, they are a serious threat to commercial shipping. They are increasingly using anti-ship ballistic missiles, and their attacks on passing vessels continue unabated. In response to this escalating threat, the United States announced the formation of a global naval task force to safeguard shipping in the Red Sea. The task force is a beacon of hope in these troubled waters. Yet so far, only the United Kingdom has stepped up to the plate, directly contributing warships to this international effort. The question that hangs in the air, much like the smoke from the sunken Houthi boats, is this: will these measures be enough? Will the international community rally together to protect commercial shipping? Or will the Houthi rebels continue their assault on the free passage of goods? Despite these measures, the Houthi attacks continue, unchecked and undeterred. The silence from the international community is almost as deafening as the silence from the Houthi group. The sea may have calmed for now, but underneath, the undercurrents of conflict continue to swirl. The Houthis' use of anti-ship ballistic missiles marks a dangerous escalation in their attacks. The waters of the Red Sea are growing increasingly tumultuous, not due to the forces of nature, but rather the forces of human conflict. The persistent and bolder attacks by the Houthi rebels, backed by Iran, have presented a formidable challenge to the might of the United States naval forces. Despite their presence and efforts to safeguard commercial shipping in the region, the US has been unable to deter the Houthi rebels from their aggressive path. This failure is not due to a lack of firepower or strategy, but rather the audacity and determination of the rebels. The Houthis have escalated their attacks, now employing anti-ship ballistic missiles to target passing vessels. This marks a significant shift in their modus operandi and a serious escalation in the conflict. It's a clear message to the world that they're not backing down, they're upping the stakes. But this escalation isn't just about the conflict at sea, it's also a reflection of the rising tensions and growing anger over the conflict in Gaza. This anger isn't limited to the parties directly involved in the conflict, but extends to the international community as well. It's a stark reminder of the interconnected nature of conflicts in the Middle East and the ripple effects they can have on global security and commerce. As we grapple with the ramifications of these escalating attacks, it's crucial to remember that they're not isolated incidents. They're part of a larger, more complex conflict. The unrest in the Red Sea isn't just about the Houthis and the US naval forces, it's about geopolitical power dynamics, regional conflicts, and the lives of countless individuals caught in the crossfire. This unrest in the Red Sea is not an isolated event, but part of a larger, more complex conflict. Yemen's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has made a commitment. This commitment is not just to the people of Yemen, but to the larger international community. Amid the escalating conflict and the resulting threat to commercial vessels in the Red Sea, the ministry has pledged its dedication to protecting submarine communications cables running under the strategic Bab al-Mandeb Strait. These cables are not just physical connections, but symbolic lifelines linking the East and the West. The very core of global communication and commerce depends on their security and uninterrupted functionality. The ministry's commitment, therefore, is a testament to Yemen's recognition of its role in maintaining this global connectivity. Yet this commitment is not without its challenges. In the shadow of the Houthi attacks, the task of ensuring the safety of these cables becomes increasingly complex. It involves not only diplomatic negotiations but also strategic planning and military involvement. Yemen's commitment, in essence, becomes an integral part of the larger conflict, a piece in the intricate puzzle of peace and security in the region. However, it's also important to remember that this commitment is not an isolated initiative. It's a part of a broader international effort to secure the Red Sea, a crucial waterway for global trade. The United States has already announced a global naval task force in response to the Houthi attacks, and the United Kingdom has directly contributed warships. Yet, the attacks continue, the threat persists, and the tension escalates. This then begs the question, is the commitment enough? Can Yemen, along with international allies, truly ensure the safety of the submarine communications cables, and by extension the commercial vessels traversing the Red Sea? As the world watches, the question remains, what will it take to ensure the safety of commercial vessels in the Red Sea? The Red Sea, a vital trade route, is under threat. This statement is an all-too-chilling reality we find ourselves grappling with. As we journey through the final chapter of this narrative, let's take a moment to reflect on the key points that have unfolded. The recent attacks on the Maersk Hangzhou by Iranian-backed Houthi rebels have sent shockwaves through the global shipping industry. The conflict in this region is far from new, but the escalation we've seen in recent times is alarming. Commercial vessels that once sailed these waters with relative ease now find themselves in the crossfire of a conflict that shows no signs of abating. In the wake of these attacks, the United States military responded swiftly, sinking 3 Houthi boats and thereby highlighting the continued threat to commercial vessels in the region. Yet, despite this show of force, the Houthi attacks persist, with the rebels now increasingly resorting to anti-ship ballistic missiles. This escalating conflict has spurred an international response. The United States has announced a global naval task force to safeguard shipping in the Red Sea, a move that has thus far seen the United Kingdom contributing warships directly. However, despite these concerted efforts, the unrest in the Red Sea continues to rise, fueled in part by the ongoing conflict in Gaza. Closer to home, Yemen's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has affirmed their commitment to protecting submarine communications cables running under the Bab al-Mandeb Strait. While this stance is commendable, it underscores the gravity of the situation and the potential for even greater disruption should these critical infrastructures be compromised. As we stand on the cusp of a new year, the situation in the Red Sea remains fraught with uncertainty. The stakes are high, and the world watches with bated breath, hoping for a de-escalation of tensions and a return to peace. However, the path to achieving this is unclear, and the safety of those who traverse these waters hangs in the balance. As we look ahead to the new year, one can only hope for a peaceful resolution to the conflict that ensures the safety of all those who traverse the Red Sea.